You are listening to the Cattle Call Podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The Cattle Call Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cattle Call Podcast with Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants. I am Jim, your garrulous and goofy host, and with me, as always, is my partner,
Rocco.
You see, folks, he gives me these one-word answers, and this is why I must make him suffer, and by extension, all of you, suffer through the engineering joke of the week. All right, Rocco, I got a special one for you this week, man. It's an Italian-American joke just for you.
Oh, boy, I'm ready for it.
It's shocking. I know people had a name like Rocco. I know you all thought he was Irish, but he's not. He's actually Italian-American. So, just for you, Rocco, this is a very special one. Ready? Why do Italian-Americans like working as railroad engineers?
Why?
Because the job comes with lots of esteem.
Oh my God.
I got him on that one. He's laughing. He's entertained. It's an awful joke, but I figured it was good for you. So he's still laughing. It must have been a good one this week. I like it. All right, folks. So we have a first-time guest on today. We have Eric DeLeon, who is the current sitting president of AUGI, is with us to talk about all the cool stuff they have going on at AUGI these days. So, Eric, thank you, sir, for suffering through our bad jokes and being here on the show with us, man.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
All right. So good stuff. So, yeah, I want to, today's show, I want to get into the details, right, about all of the new stuff, that's going on over at AUGI, of course. But, before we do that, let's find out a little bit about Eric's background and kind of how he got involved with AUGI. So, Eric, what should folks know about, the path that led you here and how you wound up sitting on, in the big chair over at AUGI?
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, once again, thank you guys for having me. I've been listening to this podcast for a long time, and I had, a lot of my friends have been on it, so I'm very honored to be.
You listen and you still agreed to be here?
Yeah,
you're glutton for punishment, man.
Yeah, for sure. For myself, I've been in the industry for 27 years. I got inspired by I was in fifth grade. My uncle was a senior in high school taking a drafting class, and just something about watching him going through his capstone project and watching him coming home and working on it at night. He did a little bit extra. Got extra credit for filling in a little bit more details to the set of plans. But the fact that, you can design something and somebody's going to take your plans and go build it. Something about that really fascinated me.
It is a cool
early
thing.
On. Yeah, as a youngster, but, got into this and, I've done anything from being a structural engineering technician, CAD manager, 3D visualization specialist, director of LiDAR, hustling, design, build projects, and now on my own trying to start up DeLeon Consulting and Coaching.
Nice setup. So how'd you get involved with AUGI?
Yeah, with AUGI it was an interesting story, to be honest. So I was going through a coaching program trying to get clarity on I call next steps, right? So I have a day job, 9 to 5, but in the background, I've always been called for something more. How am I going to, and, I launched the podcast, CAD Manager Confessions podcast, and just felt really called to serve the CAD BIM industry, the community at large. And, I was going through this program and I eventually, I kind of knew where I wanted to go to, was very diligent and just honoring the process of getting clarity. Is this what I really want to get into? I developed a program to help coach folks who want to get into CAD management. And literally it was the week I got done kind of just finalizing all these thoughts. Like, okay, I think this is what I want to do. And I got a text message from one of the board members at AUGI and said, "Hey, are you interested in joining the board?" And I was like, it was just all of these things were aligned. I tell people like the sky opened up and the sun ray came shining down on me on that moment, and yeah, I'd like to say I said yes, and kind of the rest of the AUGI for me was kind of like history was kind of made for myself.
Nice. Hey man, things work out the way they should. That's beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so look, folks, everybody knows AUGI, right? AUGI's been around for many years now, and it has come a very long way from kind of the original user group that I recall being a member of in my early CAD days. Look, for starters, though it is still spelled, AUGI, right? For the Autodesk User Group International, I think was it. The AutoCAD
Correct.
part of that, it really isn't relevant anymore. AUGI has kind of, spun off. And to the best of my knowledge, anyway, it's not even affiliated with Autodesk and AutoCAD these days. They've kind of set their focus on a wider CAD BIM world that isn't just tied to a single software, right? They've gone pretty much software agnostic, if you will, and they're focused on processes and procedures and education for all of their members in those spaces. So, Eric, let's kind of start with the obvious question there, right? What can you tell our listeners about kind of the AUGI AutoCAD separation a few years back?
Yeah, for sure. I think, to be honest, it was before my time, obviously. It was done right before COVID. I joined in 2022, so I believe it was right before COVID started. I think Autodesk was just, we were the Autodesk, user group community, right? Before they had the forums and things like that, right? That all of us go to when we're looking for help. But they just did a shift where they just wanted to own they wanted to own the community at large. And so, AUGI was the face of that. And, it was, they just wanted to own it. They took a lot of the budget that was made for AUGI and just took it internally. And so, that was kind of the split, to be honest, right? I mean, it was some dark days, to be honest, because, AUGI, it didn't have that backing anymore, right? I mean, we had memberships and we had AUGI World Magazine, but, it was some dark times of just not knowing if AUGI was even going to exist anymore. Right. And so I think coming through all of that, coming through COVID and coming on the outside, and when I joined, just trying to help, spark new ideas and do things. But to be honest, if it wasn't for the board members at that time and just them fighting, to be honest, fighting for the AUGI members and the CAD BIM community at large, right? They went back and forth. There's some legal stuff, we were able to keep at least the acronym name so that way the brand wouldn't, we'd be recognized in the industry still. But those folks, they really worked hard, and the passion, right? Their passion for the industry really showed, because, here we are on the other end of it. And, I think we're really on a path of being stronger than ever.
Yeah, I can imagine that must have been tough, man. Losing that big, corporate backing, that definitely made for some nervous days. But so I can definitely see that, right? That split, that's a really big change to go through. But I think it was a good one, right? Because it freed AUGI up to provide, support and education around more than just one single software system, right? Or even a single software developer. And I think it gives those of us in the design world a platform where we can discuss ideas and we can express our concerns freely with no type of corporate judgment, right? When we aren't saying, the nice things about this program or that program. And it also, I think, allowed AUGI to kind of flourish with those new programs and platforms and ideas. So let's get into AUGI a little bit here, Eric. In general, right? What is AUGI up to, these days now that you guys are kind of out on your own?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the new things that we're trying to do. To be honest, at a high level, we're really right now working on. We want to honor the past, but look to the future, right? We all know like a big thing is AI, and obviously community at large, right? Where you see that word community a lot and things like that. So we're really just trying to hone in on who we are in this new era and working on some messaging so that way our AUGI members and the industry at large and our potential, sponsors and advertisers really know who we are and how they can leverage our platform to really get their messages, their products, their services out to the CAD BIM community industry at large.
Good stuff. All right, Rocco, let's wake you up over in the corner, man. Look, you're a very old man. You're decrepit and old, just like me. And you've been in the CAD space for decades. How important has AUGI been to the client base and the people that we work with?
Look, I'm not old. Okay.
It's delusional. Sorry, I shouldn't cough on.
Younger by the day. No, AUGI's been very important. I mean, it's been a source for Autodesk users to go to ever since I can remember, and I think that it's folks are still kind of trying to get a grasp for where they are today and where they're going tomorrow, and that's one of the reasons why we've got Eric here to chat with us today.
Makes sense. I'll buy that. So look, it's one thing, I think, to talk about like the past and the present of a huge industry presence like AUGI. But, when you got the president on, you want to get into a bit of the future as well, right? The advent of AI and new cloud-based file sharing and worker shortages and, open source software and integrated file sharing across platforms and so on. All of that, I think, is going to play a huge part in our industry, kind of like over the next 2 decades. And I think that AUGI is going to be a key educational hub for those of us who have to adapt with all of these crazy fast changes. So Eric, what does the future of AUGI kind of look like in this fast changing tech world?
Yeah, I'm really excited. And I know we're going to touch base on AUGI World, the magazine, the podcast, AUGICon here, and a couple of questions coming up here. But what I really love that what AUGI is doing is that one is we've expanded our board, our board, right? Last couple of years, we introduced advisory board members. And what this does is allows us to be able to grow from within, right? Like when I joined, you had to go through an application process, right? People will still have to do that. But, I had to show experience that I was a part of boards, I had previous board experience, right? So I've been a part of 3 other boards. I'm very much involved in my community, wanting to give back and doing what I can. And so that really positioned me very well when I stepped in as a general board member and eventually stepping into the president position, running other organizations just like this. And so what we've done, we've expanded our board to involve more board of directors and as well as these advisory board roles. I mean, it's giving us new perspective, new fresh blood into the AUGI organization and really bringing a lot of great ideas. And so what we're going to be doing is really leveraging our expanded board to be able to, and everybody, this is what's great is on purpose. I mean, we do have some overlapping specialties, of course, but everybody is a powerhouse in their own right within the industry, whether or not they're, Autodesk University speakers or they're Autodesk Group Network leaders and things like that, right? And they're also in the industry, helping other, as service providers, helping the industry at large in their day jobs. And so I'm really, really excited of these new board members and their ideas and their energies and really helping us really just shape what the future is going to look like, because we all know it's like you said, the industry is changing very fast, right? AI, digital twin, digital project delivery, model, as a delivery and all that kind of stuff, right? And so we have all these things here, and I'm just very excited because we have a very well experienced board that's going to help us be able to bring new ideas to the fold And the fact that, we're no longer tied to one platform, we're platform agnostic, I think it really gives us the ability to be able to move faster and be more nimble than some of the other bigger communities that are out there.
Yeah. And I love that concept. I agree with the way you guys have done that. I think it, like you said, not being tied to kind of a corporate overlord, if you want. It's a lot easier to bring in people who are actively working in the field, who can tell you like, this works, that doesn't, and I don't care what software you're using or what process you're using. Here's the reality of the day to day, and I think that's huge, and it's one of the
for sure
things I love about AUGI. I tell you what, folks. All right, we're gonna take a quick break so we can hear from today's sponsor. But when we get back, I want to get Eric to talk about some of these, exciting new and updated services that AUGI has. Right, that makes everybody's life easier. So stay tuned, folks. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody. Today's episode of the Cattle Call Podcast is brought to you by ZenTech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. We're bringing ourselves to you. Aren't we nice? So we wanted to talk to you guys today about some of the things that we offer at ZenTech Consultants. In particular, we wanted to talk to you today about our offerings around developing and upgrading your CAD standards. We are here to help you guys with all of your CAD standard needs, from ongoing drafting and design support to block and library development, full CAD standards development, right, CAD version upgrades, really whatever it is that you guys need when it comes to developing and implementing and tweaking your current CAD standards. Or like I said, if you don't have any yet, we can help you build them from scratch. So Rocco, why don't you tell all the good folks how they can reach out to us and start that conversation?
Yeah, there's a lot of information, people, on our website, zentechconsultants.net. That's ZENTEK consultants.net. Or you can give us a call, 866-824-4459, or even drop us an email, sales@zentechconsultants.net.
Ooh, nice. CAD standards from ZenTech Consultants. You're listening to the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Cattle Call Podcast. We're talking with Eric DeLeon, the president of AUGI today. And in the top of the show, we kind of talked about AUGI in general terms, right? And in this half, I really want to get into some of the specific programs and offerings that AUGI has running that I think bring a lot of value to their membership. And look, the biggest of those, to my mind at least, is AUGICon. So Eric, right? What is AUGICon? Why'd you guys start it? And what makes it different than other events in our space?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so this was a birth of, I think if you guys remember a couple of years ago, the industry was very unpleased in the shift of another big industry event that happens annually.
Yeah.
And so they were just very sad that it was no longer, it is what it is, right? They own it. They can do what they want. But when it comes to people attending, they felt like it was a lot of resale driven, a lot of corporate driven type of events, right? And again, we probably get it, to drive probably sales to their new products, awareness to the new products, get you to get more licenses and so forth, right? It is what it is, right? And so I think, another industry reseller as well, we both kind of looked at the opportunity of what can AUGI do to help ease some of the frustrations and to meet a need, right? And so one of the things that we really wanted to do, and this is kind of the AUGICon overarching thesis is our motto at AUGI, right, is users helping users, right? And in it is, one of the big things that I was a champion of and kind of really driving some of this discussions was, what can we do to help people, with practical real world presentations and training that they can take to their desks immediately and learn a tip and trick and do it right away on their project, or a tip and trick or some kind of best practice that they can take to their designs team. And that was really the birth of AUGICon, is the shift from the focus that this big corporate industry conference kind of went away from. And so we were just trying to meet the needs of, we have a lot of smart people in the industry that had presentations that got rejected. And so basically we said, if you got rejected, let's come over here and, we're going to be doing another event here. If this is something you're interested in. And so obviously we did a lot of feelers. We did a sign up sheet, and listen, man, the industry, I think just really, sorry, I'm trying to put the right words around it. Just really validated this type of conference, users helping users, real world practical advice that they can take to their teams and do it themselves. And so we were very proud. I mean, so that was, I think that all happened, September, somewhere in the fall. I don't remember exactly that year where everything sat, but literally within 4 months, the board of directors, we did the signups, we got people involved, we got speakers signed up, all that whole back end to do a virtual conference, all literally within like 3 months because of April of, since 25, 23, 24, I'm trying to think here, 24, we launched the first AUGICon. And so very, very proud because, again, I thought it met a need. And the fact that, again, we're platform agnostic. So we were able to get, Autodesk, mainly, again, a lot of our industries, a lot of our members and a lot of our folks are Autodesk driven. So we had Autodesk presentations, we had Bluebeam, we got the whole gamut of different stuff. I think we had BriskCAD as well. And so that's really what we're trying to do is just give a platform that all of us can play nice together. And really at the end of the day, just users helping users.
Yeah. And I love that concept. And I think AUGICon is just a great event for that very reason, right? I mean, I used to, at that other big event, as a regular speaker for years, I'd be out there every year doing 2-3 presentations. And, after about 6 years of doing that, they just started saying, no, we don't want that. We don't want that. Because it didn't, what I was presenting were technical papers for my industry, and they wanted things that would feed the marketing message they were trying to get out that year.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it was a huge boon to the industry that you guys took that. And if anybody out there listening, if you guys haven't attended or you're not familiar with AUGICon, definitely get out there and take a look at it and see what's coming up in the next one.
Yeah, for sure. Here and real quick here. I mean, again, if you become a member, so if you go to augi.com, we have a membership button you can join. And we have the replays from AUGICon 1 and AUGICon 2 that sit inside of the community, which we'll talk about later. But, what really was really exciting was that when we did AUGICon 2, so the one we just had this year, I mean, we got doubled the submissions to the fact that we had to just retweak our agenda so we can slip in four more presentations and things like that. And so, I mean, we had more than enough, and we tried to expand it across different topics, different softwares. And so, if you're listening to this, again, reach out because, it's going to be coming out. Become a member, be a part of the community because we're going to be, preparing here pretty soon for AUGICon 3. And so with that, going to be bigger and better. And so, again, if you're here and you do the non-Autodesk type of stuff, again, I know a lot of people listen to this, they're just a beast in the industry, right? So a lot of the listeners probably use it, but if you're using all those other softwares as well, please reach out because that's what we're trying to do. We're really trying to get to the heart of, can we give practical advice to the users and do it in a way done by experts in the industry?
Yeah, it's a good setup. I tell you, another huge offering from AUGI that I have always been a supporter of, both as a user and as a business owner, is AUGI World Magazine. Been reading that thing forever. Even if you're old like Rocco and I, and you do miss the world of paper magazines, AUGI World is still out there. It's alive and it's kicking in its digital format, right? Bringing great content to industry users, for all of these different processes and softwares every single month. So, Eric, what is new, or rather, what kind of new and exciting things do you guys have going on in AUGI World?
Yeah, AUGI World, what we're really excited about is that in the last year or so, we've had an influx of just new authors, people just wanting to come and write articles for us, which we're excited, right? Because we're continuing to be users helping users. I mean, these are from industry experts sharing their knowledge to get it out to the industry. to our AUGI members and to the industry at large. And it's just really exciting. And, when it comes for people for advertising and things like that, I mean, again, we have 500,000 members across the world that are members. And so when we go and share this to all of our members, the AUGI World magazine digital copy, hits those inboxes, man. So it's really exciting to see that the eyeballs that get to see, not only our authors' articles, but also any advertising that, can't even say the word right now, that goes out to the members. So yeah, it's a really great opportunity for those who are, if you're listening, you have a business, or you just want to get your products in front of, or services in front of CAD BIM users. AUGI World Magazine is definitely one of the great ways to do that.
Yeah. And I'll give you guys a real world example and tell you how much I really love it. I've written at least a half dozen articles for AUGI World over my career. And here's where I'll wake Rocco up again, right? Because not only have I written for AUGI World and do I read AUGI World, right? Rocco and I, we actually pay to advertise in it fairly regularly. So nice. Rocco,
Thank you.
Yeah, now we love the partnership. It works out well. So Rocco, what's kind of been the overall result of those campaigns for us, particularly in the CAD space?
Yeah, it's creating huge awareness, right? And that's what this is about, right? Finding when you narrow it down, there aren't a ton of avenues to put out marketing of our services within the industry, and so AUGI World is a great place to do that. So awareness, I mean, we have conversations all the time where people tell us, hey, I saw your article, your publication, your banner ad in AUGI World. So it's definitely helpful for us.
Yeah, like I said, it's just a lot of folks, so it's worth looking into if you guys are dealing with your own businesses out there. So look, so AUGI, they're also adding new sections. All right, and updating their offerings to make sure that they're reaching as many people in the industry as they can, with all of the best info that is available. And I've always liked that AUGI isn't static, right? They're always adding new features, they're testing out things, and they're generally just responding to the needs and requests of their members in the CAD BIM world. So Eric, I have noted, I have not been in it myself, but AUGI has created a new community for members only, right? Called the AUGI community.
Yep.
What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So again, just like you said, we're trying to come up with new ways to, keep our membership fresh and exciting. And so, we all know, I'll say that we all regularly go to forums, right? And forums are fun. AUGI was built on the forums. We all go to forums every day. As we Google things, AUGI will come up, Autodesk, Bentley, all these other blogs will come up of ways to find out information for things that you're looking to get help on. And so in spirit of, I'm a community owner on my personal ventures and things like that. And so I'm very excited that I was able to get the board. I really didn't have to twist their arm that hard, but I'm like, hey, listen, we know forums can be challenging because they can seem kind of outdated and, they're everywhere. And really we want to make a better connection with our members. And so that's where the birth of the AUGI community was from, was one, trying to give a new offering to make the membership fresh and exciting, but also to be able to connect with our members in a different way. Again, very similar to forums, but I just really like the vibe of communities, which we have on the Mighty Network. Really just gives us the ability to, like, comment, share, and things like that. And it's all behind a private portal. So, we don't get those, we don't get the trolls out there, right, that are, or bad information.
That can kill a forum.
Correct. Right. So that's why it's a private community for members only. And so it helps us to be able to preserve that and save, us, from all that noise from all these other platforms, right? We're a part of groups and communities on either social media or other forums, and, it can get kind of messy, and, you never know what you're going to get. And so here, it's all members helping members, right? Users helping users. And so, yeah, we're really excited to have it going. Again, we're trying to grow it. And so, if you're an AUGI member, good join. Again, the AUGI community is there for you. And looking for people to contribute and things like that.
Nice. All right, folks. So one other thing I did want to bring up here today, and I'll say that, even though technically it's a competitor to the Cattle Call, I am actually a fan of the podcast that AUGI started a few years back, right? And while, I still think that I am more entertaining, particularly when I'm, torturing my partner, Rocco. Their podcast is actually really, really solid, and it does have a lot of really good info. So, Eric, what do you want to tell listeners about AUGI World, the podcast? It's kind of like Spaceballs, the movie, isn't it? It's AUGI World, the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, again, this is one of the things, again, when I joined AUGI in 2022, the talk of a podcast, they've been talking it for years. And again, as a podcast host as well, I was very excited to be able to bring that expertise and specialty to the group and get this started. So it's one of the things that I'm very proud of, to be able to be, spearhead the leadership and the vision of getting it going. Of course, we do it interview style, but really what we felt like we were missing was we've been sitting, on a ton of just content that we produce, that the members produce and that we produce. And so really what we've been trying to do is trying something different, is really repurposing AUGI World magazine articles and making it a podcast episode. And so that's something that, a lot of, interviews are great, but we just really want to just highlight the knowledge of our authors and being able to repurpose that into a podcast. And so it's going pretty good. We're pretty excited about it. And of course, we want to bring a human side of it by doing interviews as well. So we have some people that we're trying to get on board to do those as well. But what we're really trying to do, and again, you AUGI members and those listening to this podcast, let us know, because we're trying something different, in that we're actually training an AI to read the podcast episodes for us. And so, because it was a challenge getting the authors, some of them are shy.
Yeah.
Didn't want to get behind the mic and read their articles. And, it's just something weird. Sometimes, whatever challenges that they may have, right? So we decided to let's just try this out. There's a couple of ways that we were doing it, but we found one of Got a Voice that did a really good job. Frank Mayfield has actually been a partner with me on this one, of going through and just vetting out how to get the articles into a script format that the AI voice will then read for us and things like that. So yeah, I mean, again, we're not only are we talking about the new technologies that are out there like AI and things like that, and some of these Chat GPT, and I think Frank uses Grok, things like that, but we're just testing these things as well for ourselves personally, professionally, and even as an organization, just to be able to see how we can leverage this to create new and exciting kind of content. Things like that. So yeah, that's, really excited to kind of leverage that, to see where that goes. And if it falls flat, it falls flat. At least we're trying, right?
Yeah.
To use the new technology and see what we can do to, create content.
That's it. Listen, I love the idea, of what you guys are doing with, talking to the people about their area of expertise. I think it's great, and what they've written up. And it always surprises me. I'm sure you have the same thing. Guys like you and me, we have a hard time understanding that not everybody wants to sit in front of a microphone and be like the center of attention.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
All right, folks. So as always, I like to leave off the show with guests telling us something that I didn't know that I should ask them about. So Eric, what else should people know about AUGI, or the CAD BIM industry in general, right? Before we wrap it up today, what do you think?
I think we all, I may be pretty just straight up, right? I think we all know it's evolving, right? I don't think it's happening all around us. I just really just think we all just have to, I know there's, especially with like AI, right? I think we have a lot of folks, again, we know it's a, learning language model. We know it's predictive. We know it's this or that, right? All the naysayers, and it is what it is, right? I use it. I'm not sure if you guys use it. I know a lot of counterparts use it for different things. I just think it's not going away. It's very similar to the internet. I think you guys can remember when the internet first came out,
Yep.
Everybody's like, oh my gosh, even schools banned it. you had to do your own research by going to the library. It's like, really, there's all these online resources and things like that. I think AI is the same thing, right? I think we're just living through two major pivotal technology shifts in our lifetime. There'll probably be several more, but even the internet is still relatively brand new, even though it's been around for a couple, few decades. And AI thinks the same thing. It's accelerating a lot faster. And all I can say is just you have to embrace it. If not, at least know how to use it. If whatever, whatever bumpers you put on it or training wheels you want to do, and cautions that you use it with, obviously, but it's not going away. And I think we just have to embrace it and be able to learn how to leverage it in what we're doing, and obviously smart and protect your proprietary information and not share your company secrets and things like that. But definitely harness it. It's not going away. Just grab it by the horns and run with it.
Yeah, and I agree. And listeners to the show know that I get really annoyed with the marketing hype around AI and how it's like, oh, it's self-aware and it's going to do everything on it, and it's not. But we do use it as a tool, and it's a really powerful and very helpful tool. And if you come at it from that standpoint, I think you're dead on, Eric. That's where it's going. It's going to be the most powerful tool to hit in our lifetimes. It'll dwarf the internet by the time
it's another tool in the toolbox. Yeah, another tool in the toolbox, right? I mean, that's where, because I used to be the director of LiDAR. I did LiDAR for a lot of years. And back then, surveyors were all scared, right? Nobody wanted to talk to us whenever we did these big trade shows and things like that. Like, oh my gosh, this is going to take my job. I said, no, it's not going to take your job. It's just another tool in the toolbox to help us do things that we couldn't even imagine that we could do by doing it the traditional way. We still need you guys. And like everything else, we're still going to need to learn how to do things. But it's just another tool in the toolbox. In some case, I think it's an accelerator, man. You put it on the fire and it's just amazing the things that we're going to be able to do with it.
Yep. That's it. I agree. That's the right approach. All right, folks. So I think on that note, we're going to wrap it up here, and I'm going to let Eric get back to running AUGI and building out the business he's doing in his own life. But before we go, I do want to just say thank you one more time, Eric, for being here, man. It's been a pleasure and a great interview, and I really hope you'll be willing to come back on again soon.
Yeah, for sure. And again, thank you for having me, and for all you listening. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully you enjoyed this conversation.
Awesome. All right, folks, we're going to get out of here, but we'll catch you next time on the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody, today's Cattle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.